Hey, what's up, y'all? Wolverine here. I got downloaded some information from Nibiru from Lord Inky, and I came to a very exciting revelation in my mind and a moment of clarity. Uh, a pure clearness through the lies. I was able to just see through the whole deal. Fuck yeah, not just through part of it or a chunk of it, but like all the way through. And I came to a realization. They've been telling us our whole lives that God got challenged by Lucifer to be dethroned. Lucifer wanted to take his seat, and because of that, there was 33 cats that stood with Lucifer. They were loyal, they were brothers. They got thrown out of heaven, all of them, and cast to the earth. Well, here's the real deal. Lucifer never stood up to God. Never. I'm sure, I mean, it's a nice thing to have on your record. I was so badass I stood up to God. We can give him that. We'll go ahead and make him a badge or whatever. But he never did stand up to God. Let me explain to you why he never stood up to God. The Anunnaki, alien race Anunnaki, those are our great-grandfathers and stuff. They created us, Enki and Lil. See, Anu is the great ruler of Nibiru. The Anunnakis lived there. He had two sons, Enki and Enlil. They created the human race to mine gold from the earth, to send back to Nibiru to fix the atmosphere and to save it so that they could keep going on with their planet, you know? It's like a spaceship, it goes places. But anyways, here's the deal. So Enki saw fault in the man that was running the show, which was his father, Anu. And he saw fault in what he was doing, and he thought he could do a better job. Now, the only way you could get a seat like that is if your father died or something, and then you would earn the seat, I'm sure. But the only way to quicken that up is either to kill your father or fight your father. And fighting some old school shit. We've been doing it since day one, and it's the way we settle a feud or a battle. If we ain't got no other way to settle it, we fight. We throw our fists out and we fight. Old school. Anyways, when Enki stood up to Anu, not God, because Anu is just the ruler of the Anunnaki. He stood up against that ruler to take his throne chair. He stood up against his own species. He stood up against the person that was elected for the seat. And he decided to fight for it. Now, that's just one planet. Anunnaki, yeah, they have other planets, but Nibiru is their main planet, okay? Now, there's the Dracos, there's the Palladians, there's the Arcturians. There's so many different alien races out there, Lemurians. There's so many that it's insane. And then the Anunnaki, Anu is not their god. He's not the god of the Pleiades. He's not the god of Draco, reptilians. He's not the god of any of that. He's only god of the Anunnaki and maybe something else. I haven't heard about it. But think about it like this. Yeah, okay, so Anu was the great ruler, which would make him great ruler over us, even though his son created us. He would take the credit and then dismantle his son and put him in a shameful way and all that, make a shameful ass story and make himself God. Because we were just like basically not far off from monkeys, so how could we possibly perceive the notion of what God is? I don't think it's that hard, really. It's everything. There's like millions of alien races out there. It's the god of all those races. It's not one man sitting in a chair creating shit. It's not an artist with a paintbrush and an easel. And if anybody out there says they're God, they're not God. Because to be created in this oneness of this allness. Well, another thing, the Big Bang, the great orgasm, never happened either. Louis Pasteur, he was a Christian. He was a farmer. He owned a bunch of milk farms with cows and stuff. He disproved the Big Bang Theory in 1947. when he invented pasteurization, which is how we started getting clean milk without getting diseases. You see, pasteurization, when it was invented, there was a lot of diseases going around from diseases coming from cows, and people had to have milk, it was part of their diet. And back then they would have to boil it on the stove and stuff. Well, anyways, Louis Pasteur invented pasteurization, and what he invented was he got a steel drum, or whatever the metal was. He got a metal drum, and he created a sterile environment. He realized in a sterile environment, if he heated it to a certain temperature, killed all the bacteria out, and it was a sterile environment, that no bacteria could formulate in a sterile environment. Now think about this. If the universe all of a sudden had a bright light blow up out of nowhere and then bust in 1,000 pieces or whatever and create bacteria which starts growing in the planets and everything else, before that light or that explosion happened, the universe had nothing in it. So it was a sterile environment. Louis Pasteur, when he created pasteurization, invented that in a sterile environment, bacteria cannot form. So a flame could not have started, a bomb could not have started, an explosion or orgasm, none of that. Which leads back to the ultimate question. How do we really exist? I mean, seriously, even if there was a God or whatever, he would have a God, get it? And that God would have a God. Eventually, going down the line, there was never a beginning, or it would have looped back into the end again. But even for that, you would still have had to start somewhere in the circle, which makes not a lot of sense. I almost wonder if we're even here or not. Either way, I wanted to tell you guys about my revelation. I realized that my father, Lucifer, Lord Inky, is a very great being, and I have a lot of respect for him. I was a Christian minister for a little while there, and the reason I did is because when I was a little kid, there was all these things in the Bible that didn't make sense to me, like the angels that had sex with the women. I would ask the preachers of the churches and stuff that I was forced to go to. I would say, hey, what about this? And I would ask them questions. What about these UFOs in Ezekiel? And they would be like, no, son, you got that wrong. Well, can you explain to me what it meant, sir? No, son, I can't explain it to you. You're going to have to study the Bible and ask Jesus to teach you, and the answers will come to you. And so until you have some kind of a name at the church or a degree, or you're a pastor, or you've been to Bible college for a couple years, you've got no right to argue these points with your pastor, son. I said, okay, sir, I will go out and I will get that degree or whatever. And I went to 2 years of Bible college with Thompson Bible Institute. I went to prison for a couple years. I studied the Bible hardcore. I got ordained as a minister. I got ordained as a minister through the TPI, Thompson Bible Institute. I got ordained as a minister through the Universal Life Church also, because I'm trying to start a church right here in Portland. The Church of I Am Luciferian. The Church of Luciferian I Am. The Church of I Am, where we will teach the truth to the people for once. It's also a place where you can meditate, do yoga, get healing, get blasted off on DMT, go see gods, talk to aliens. I'm a healer. I've got superpowers, and a lot of people out there got superpowers, and I want them to come to our church, and I want everybody to throw in their 2 cents and tidbits, and we're going to mix something up and make a really good pot of church-going people, We're not going to be sacrificing little kids, and we're not going to be drinking blood with Hillary Clinton, and we're not going to be doing adrenochrome with the reptilians. I believe that, like if I am Antichrist or whatever, like Dad says, then first thing I will do is I will make it. I don't like the human trafficking. You know, underneath us, we don't even realize it. On the surface, it's a commercial for what's really going on, because what's really going on is inside the earth. Inside the earth, human trafficking tunnels with thousands and thousands of children being trafficked for organs, being trafficked for sexual slavery, being trafficked for adoption, being trafficked for adrenochrome. They scare the shit out of these kids. They wear horrible, evil masks. They do satanic rituals. They hit them with cattle prods. They scare them. And when these kids are in fright, horrible fright, and their adrenaline's pumping, they chop their heads off and they pull the adrenochrome from the, I don't know, like the base of the spine or something, or maybe the bottom of the brain. I'm still learning about that. But this adrenochrome, it's like the most expensive, most powerful drug you can do, and it's like it makes you immortal. And I guess Lady Gaga was doing it, and people like that. Either way, I feel that it's, you know, I understand you can't stop the flow of drugs. There is going to be people getting their heads chopped off for adrenochrome, because where there's a will and a want, there's always a way. And I just feel that children will not be cut. I will make sure that no more children get their heads chopped off for adrenochrome, because a child should have a life. A child should know laughter and play with their friends and enjoy the sun and all that shit. A child shouldn't be raised in a cage and get cattle prodded and never even see the sunlight. You know, they found 30 million kids under New York in prisons that were in these secret tunnels under the ground, and there was like cages, like 5-6 cages stacked on top of each other, and there were like hundreds of cages long, and there was kids in them that hadn't eaten in weeks, and they were eating each other, and there was no lights. And the Marines went down there and found them, and they started barfing. These kids were feasting all over themselves, eating each other. Some of them were dead. Some of them had their organs just ripped out and just left like that, next to other kids that were alive. These kids in Los Angeles, they found like another 2 million. And they found it in every major city. They're finding these secret tunnels with children underneath. And that's one thing I think that as Americans or as New World Order citizens of this New World Order, we need to purge that from this planet. Also, if I am the Antichrist, I'm going to make it a holiday every Halloween. On the day of Halloween, we're going to have, the night before Halloween, you will take your kids trick-or-treating. Cool? And there's no violence on that night at all. No violence on children night. The night after, on the night of Halloween, we're going to do the purge every year, just like the movie. You can do anything you want. You can rob the pharmacy. You can rob the dispensary. You can kill the asshole. You can do whatever you want. There will also be in every city or major town, there will be like one building, and it'll be like the safe zone, you know, where, you know, elderly and little kids can go during the purge that don't want to get hurt and stuff, and they can go and be safe, and people that are purging are not allowed to touch these buildings at all. There'll be like sacred buildings, like church type buildings. But yeah, that's going to let off steam every year. It's going to help depopulation. It's going to do a lot of wonders. It's going to bring showbiz to reality too. And these are the things I think that the world needs in an Antichrist. It needs change. Either way, I always loved you, Jesus. But I got my own thing going on. Peace out, y'all. I love you. This is Wolverine.